So thank you for your attention and a warm welcome again to this retreat, 3 days self-transformation retreat. And would like to share a couple of quotes. And one of them is by Gail Sheely. She's an American author. If we don't change, we don't grow. And if we don't grow, we aren't really living. And there's another quote I thought was interesting. Denis Diderot is a French philosopher. There are things that I can't force and I must adjust. There are times when the greatest change needed is a change of my viewpoint. So it's something we are used to reflecting on, and would be great to hear your reflections, your questions as we go through, as always. And I'm going to hand over to Prashant. Warm welcome.
Hello and good afternoon. Very, very nice to meet again. Let us create just another minute of silence. And this minute is like a reset. We remind of the best sight, best light, best intellect. And with all this, we can see the physical world for what it is. The whole game is around this physical world. In one situation, we make this physical world big and we become small. When we are using paras, this whole physical world appears small. That's why the word story. So that is what we are seeing right now with this spiritual sight. The physical world is a story. Everything that happened so far, it happened in a story. And if it is a story, there is nothing to be obsessed about, nothing to be worried about, nothing to be concerned about. We are able to go beyond the story. Story is not the only world that exists here. Beyond the story is the real world. And here is the true family, true father, and the true self. All we have done is just use the spiritual sight, and we are reset, just reminding ourselves again the beautiful truth. Excellent. So as always, we will be using the board. That is one thing that happens. Straight away the board goes up. And so we will use the and please feel free to adjust Today's discussion is around the subject of transformation. And one nice quote, don't remember the name, but what is the transformation? Sometimes everyone is busy transforming the world outside. So here there's a question, do I need to change? So they say when you point one finger outside, 3 fingers point at you. And that may be more efficient and more easy to change everyone else around. It may be more difficult than just change myself. In psychology, there are 2 kinds of personalities that are spoken of, type A and type B personalities. And they're just different classifications. But in this one personality, type A personality, they are more, they are called stress-prone personalities. They do everything in a rush and they are always in competition. If he is driving and you overtake him, he has to overtake you back. He creates more deadlines for himself. So if he is to reach a certain place at 12 o'clock, and as he approaches, he finds he is reaching there at just past 11, and he says, I should reach there before 11. So he drives even faster. So creates more deadlines and more competitions. He likes to do more than one thing at a time. If he's driving, he will also have his sandwiches in one hand and definitely mobile, in another hand. So these are typical type A personalities. And type B are more casual. They are more relaxed. If you make an appointment to see him at 4, you arrive late, he will try and accommodate. Type A will say, no, appointment was at 4, not 1 minute past 4, make another appointment. Whereas type B will be casual. Type B enjoys, different kinds of food without salt. He will say, let us try this. And type A needs everything right. Then he can be happy. Everything has to be just right. And then what is seen, type A personalities in the age group 40 to 50 has 7 times more heart attacks than type B personalities. And what is also seen, type B personalities can change, become type A can change and become type B. These personalities are not in the genes. These are learned behaviors, which is such a wonderful thing. If it was, fixed and we can't change, then there was no big hope. But anyone can change. But how do they change? These are in the world outside. Type A are in the world outside and they change. And when they become older, they are very different kind. And almost always they find people change after crisis. They change their perspective and but just before their 3rd bypass operation, they want to change. Some crisis in relationships and all, and then they realize they have to change. So majority learn after pain. If we learn before pain, it is called wisdom. So our whole effort here and the aim is to learn through wisdom. That is the whole aim of the spiritual journey. What is the message? And to see what can be done before. We have already discussed some models. Revision is important, and reminders, that is important. So let us next come to some simple revisions. We definitely like to be reminded of our big home and remind ourselves. We are reminding us of a true family. And we know there is an extraordinary gift here. It's a PlayStation. It is also a story. Within it is the drama. It is extra. It is a gift. And it's a play. And everything is good. It is meant for our happiness. He is happy to start with. His starting position is fullness and content and happy. And this whole thing should not make him unhappy. But 100% of sorrows at present time is because of this world. 100% of desperations, desires are because of this world. 100% of vices are connected with this. 100%. 100% of ego are connected with this. And if we are careless, we get all of this. Sorrow, different kinds of sorrows and desperations and vices. And what is quality of life? If someone is having lots of gold in front of him, but the mind is into desperations and anger and ego, then we go for the lowest quality of life. And we are careless. There is no education that helps us even understand this. And so whole world, it is literally like that. 100% of the population helplessly are in that direction. That's why we have to make our own program where we are going in this direction. That's why some map like this, reminders of this, so useful. And to see our journey. Paras means this. Paras is like a biggest gift for us that helps us see this whole thing differently. If we are not using this, even though we may know it and understand and have the intention, our real challenge is what you think. What is the real challenge? And here is a gathering who want to bring about change, and we understand what is right and what needs to be done. So where is the challenge? Do you want to type? What is one word that you would say is going to obstruct this change? We want to transform and we want to go up, and we said beyond, above, and upward, higher. So,
sorry, please continue.
yeah.
A lot of responses of ego, but also attachment.
That we have created within us. These are like the very distinct milestone, a drop. Because the moment we create ego, and ego don't want to die. Ego wants to get bigger. It is a bit like, if some insect, no insect want to die, an ant doesn't want to die. So also here, ego wants to give a fight. You may think that it is good for you to be with God and to be, conscious and understand your truth. But ego says, no, I'm here and I want to stay in this junk. He can be literally thinking about junk, but ego holds one in that. And there are 10 hates to ego. So this is our past. Whatever we have created, that is there to deal with. How are we going to deal with it? Ego breeds in ignorance. Just like you create a certain atmosphere, certain weather, cactus grows, in another weather, daffodils grow. So you change the weather. The spring comes and you will see daffodils. You create another kind of weather, some weeds come out. Different flowers come out in different seasons. It's also here. You create an environment of ignorance, then ego and Ravan, they flourish. Not only flourish, they are winners. Even with knowledge and all, you will have difficulty to change anything if there is an environment of ignorance. Patthar is like, and that can happen with many religion and many spiritual paths. They have intention to change, but the environment is not understood. Now here, we need to be clever here. We need to know we can change the environment. That is why this word paras. All that you are doing is creating a paras environment. In 1 second, the whole thing changes. Your sky becomes important for you. The true family and true father, that becomes important because that is real. And that is where your world is. Story is not real. Story is story. So you are now seeing story for what it is. And the whole thing of past and present, you are seeing. Like say, if someone is acting as a king in a story, your friend, you can be in your family, some son in a school drama is acting as a king. He doesn't create ego. He's a king with a crown and all, but he knows it is a story and he acts as a king and he comes home. He finds it mad to create ego based on that little part. Same here. The moment we bring light, we are seeing everything that is happening here is in the story. And your part and the various, your head, it is all stunned within a little story. And there is a real world behind. That immobilizes the ego. Ego is stopped in this environment. Just like you create light and shadow dissolves, in the same way, you bring light, even for 1 minute, half a minute, ego becomes weaker. And that is a great news. Because as the ego gets weaker, your experiences of the sky will be deeper. And that is where we want to be. Yeah, excellent. You want to add anything, say anything, and we will create little time for some discussion.
So there's a question, this came on email, but before that, Mehmet just asked on the basis of what you shared, why are we careless?
It is not real carelessness. The ego is very much careful. Just that priorities are different. Ego wants to give lots of attention and very careful in wrong area. So we have to be careful in another area. Give priorities.
Thank you. Yes. This question came on the email. Why don't we have unconditional love for other souls? And how can we have such love?
Sure. When ego is in charge, ego is the king in our kingdom. Ego is helplessly selfish. Unconditional love is not his priority. So he does love, and then he gave even louder song. He needs all these speakers and amplifiers for his song. Love may be very little, but it is all revolving around his selfishness, helplessly, because ego is very insecure. So that is our starting position. If we want to go in the direction of selflessness, we have to be secure first. More insecure the person is, more selfish he will be. And that's why the shift, authentic change takes place when the awakening happens and you discover the immortality. So even as we are talking here, try and grasp this, that invisible soul right now here watching this drama. Here Prashant talking, and there is this for technology, and this is also another episode in the drama. And invisible soul, that star with the halo, he is observing this, he is involved with this. He is that invisible traveler, he is the invisible guest. So as we start playing with it, we nourish that higher consciousness.
Yes, thank you. Do we have time for another question?
Yeah.
This has come on the chat. Isn't the egoic mind a part of the reason why we are here, part of experiencing the material world? Is there a danger that by labeling it as a negative force, we give it more power over us?
Sure. Yeah. It has to be revised. What we mean by ego, and definitely an encouragement to go through the first 10 sessions, but quickly revising. When we are saying ego, we are talking about the false identification, and not based on the story. and anything false is never required for anything. And to give you an example, if you are driving a car, you are going to work, you are driving a car. You don't need an ego that you are a driver to drive the car. You drive the car, you may have an ego that you are the director or you are the boss, not the driver. So to do the job, we don't need the ego. Ego are created just for indulgence. And as we said, we are using this word for false identification. And as long as they are there, this false ego, they are there, they prevent us from experiencing the truth, experiencing soul consciousness. Yeah, excellent. So if it is okay, we move on. We
Sure.
can, if there is any other, one quick, if there is.
A quick one. How do we know what kind of person we are, if we're selfish or not?
Sure. Underneath, as long as we are not karmatit, until we become perfect, so these false identities are definitely there. The Ravan is there. This is the present time, is Ravan's kingdom. And all these 10 heads, they all are selfish. Selfish doesn't present as blatantly in the way we see in some people, in a sort of blatant, but there is an agenda. Whatever that you are doing, that each head of ego saying, what will I get here? It is like that is his priority. His survival is priority, not the world, not the cosmos, not the welfare of others, but some ego about its own program. So, but having said that, each one, there is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so there is the angel there. And that is our aim, to nourish that higher consciousness. And superficially, we cannot stop selfishness. Whether it's me or anyone, we cannot stop selfishness superficially. We have to nourish the higher consciousness and discover our immortality and security. And false ego need to become smaller. But certainly very, very high aim. The intention today is to discuss this wonderful Murli that we read recently. And when was it read? It was read on Sunday, 25th. And the original date is 18th December 87. So right at the beginning, I'll read a few lines. The message is on Karmatit. So what is the speciality of becoming Karmatit? After all, you cannot stop performing karma action for even a second. So what is Karmatit? We will be taking this discussion further. Then here Papa is saying, to enter a relationship is one thing, and to come into a bondage is another thing. So relationship and bondage. Let us try and understand this. There are many things we come into relationship. This word is used, a relationship with an object, a relationship with another person. There's a relationship and bondage. How do you differentiate? Let me give an example. Here is a cloud. So you are seeing this amazing cloud. And you like the cloud, nice cloud, but I'm just giving some simple, you are watching the cloud is, and the next thing, cloud disappears. Okay, cloud disappears, there's clear sky. You're happy to see the cloud, you're happy to see the sky, you're happy to see the stars. Then we can say you are in relationship with that cloud. You are in relationship. There's no bondage. That cloud can't give you sorrow. Now, is it possible for the cloud suddenly to give sorrow to the person? And the answer is yes. How? Cloud is over there and I'm here. How can that cloud give me sorrow?
Attachment.
Any other word?
It might start raining.
Yeah,
Bondage, identity, ego, desire. The cloud changes its form. It prevents you from doing something.
Sure. The answers are right. But one simple word, you just need to create an expectation. You create an expectation that that cloud should not change its shape. You like it so much. And just by creating this expectation, you create a bondage. You create an expectation that cloud shouldn't change colors. There's just the right colors right now. And it'll be nice. They stay like this for next hour. And the moment you are creating expectation, that cloud becomes your boss. That cloud becomes the master. Because now the cloud is in charge to fulfill your expectation or create disappointment in you. So the word used is bondage, but we are seeing how we create bondages. It is not you are tied with a cloud, but different ways you can create a bondage. Here I'm giving an example of the cloud. Replace it with your relations. Replace it with your job or objects or car. All of those things are there. Are there any bondages? Are they in a position to upset you in a small way or big way? They can suddenly change their mind, they can behave differently, they can act differently. Are you free? So the big transformation that is required in us to go in this direction, if you want to experience higher and go above and beyond, then the bondages, strings will have to be removed. Strings don't come as strings, but strings come as expectations. What other way I create a bondage? Let us take the example of the cloud. And do I create a bondage in any other way? I can have the attitude, I own the cloud. That is another bondage. I start to believe that that is my cloud. And then I will have another kind of sorrow that that cloud might disappear. I can give myself self-respect based on the cloud. That I am so important because cloud is right in my garden and above my garden, that cloud. And so I am important. Giving an example, but see in your life, you can give yourself self-respect based on people around you, relations, based on the objects, based on the shape of the car, based on position, it can be anything. And all of those things can change. And then it is not a relationship anymore, it's a bondage. Bondage, you have made masters outside, then our mindset is of a slave. You are subservient. That is not a high quality of life. These are the lowest denominations in society, in a slave. So the more we create masters around, we create this slave mind. So just one sentence, and of course the paragraph is around this. There is a relationship and there is a bondage. And check if I am in relationship with this world, or have I created bondages in this world. Anytime anyone behaves differently, any possible way. Question is, does it disturb you, bother you? It is not anyone's fault. I have the choice to remain free. The world is absolutely free to do what they like. World, it includes people and objects and nature and climate. It can rain. Rain, why should it give you sorrow? If you have created expectation that it should not rain, then it will disturb you. That is like a freedom, true freedom. And then you are your own master. Without all these bosses, you are not created many masters around. You are your own master. Any comments?
A couple of comments were around trying to understand about other people. So does it take two people to have this bondage? Are both parties involved when it's with people? And how about people having expectations from us?
Sure. If someone else creates expectation from you, it is his problem. If you create expectation, then it is your problem. And you can't work for someone else. But because they create expectation and you create to support the person, you also end up, it becomes your expectation. Then it becomes your problem. As an example, someone may create an expectation that you get gold medal. It is their expectation. But because of some reason you say, okay, I should get gold medal because I have to make someone happy. And you create an expectation. Then it becomes your bondage. To get a gold medal is one thing, but to get into the bondage is something different.
By the same account, if someone else make a promise and then they break their promise, that's their problem.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, absolutely. The nice message for us, and we're worth writing it down. This box that we see there, and that box is not in my control. What is going to happen here? Box is this world. What is going to happen to that tree there, and to the weather here, and to this country and the planet? It is not in my control. That's why I have to be prepared for the unexpected. 100% prepared. Anything can happen and you are ready for that. Then you are free. Only if you are free, anything can be expected from you. Which means you can be happy, you can be peaceful, you can be loving. If there is a slave mentality and there are masters, then no one can be peaceful reliably, because the cloud is the master and other people, they are the masters, and they can do something, and predictably you will be happy or unhappy, not in your hands. You may be loving or not loving, it is not in your hands. Someone else decides. So the question earlier, how can we have unconditional love? Definitely very high aim. For that, we have to be free from the masters. Otherwise, we are not in control of ourselves. As it was mentioned, helplessly selfish. Helplessly, you are not in control, just like a slave. Slave is not in charge. He will just behave helplessly the way master asks him to do.
So is the power to adjust and the power to face important here?
And of course, all powers are necessary, but in this case, that is not more important to understand. That simple thing, am I creating a bondage or not? Is there a relationship with this world, or is there a bondage? And some simple things that happen that helps you observe the expectations that you may have created in the past, and they continue. Like, let's say next week will help you understand this. And right now you can't, but something happens, someone behaves differently, someone breaks something, someone tries to rob you, and then you feel, oh, I didn't expect this person can rob, and you get caught. But you observe the expectation created. Like, someone may be very, very nice and very reliable, you are more likely to create expectation. Someone you have done favors, you have done 100 favors, you expect other person to have some level of gratitude, at least he doesn't rob you. You create some expectation. It can, but then if you create an expectation, it is your fault. Here, the world, you have to be prepared for the unexpected. Then you are wiser. If you get into the bondage, that is not learning through wisdom. Then we learn through pain. But you understand all of this drama. Drama has got a script, and you have to be prepared to be free. So far, so good?
Yes, a question from the Spanish group. What's the difference between detachment and indifference?
Sure. I'll give an example, and that helps us understand this detachment, indifference, and what we want to achieve. So there are three things that happen in English, these words: apathy. In this, there is indifference. Sympathy. and empathy. So there are three words. Imagine someone has fallen in a hole. One with apathy, he goes there. He sees the other person has fallen in the hole and he walks away. So that we call apathy. He's indifferent. Someone has fallen in the hole, and then this person comes and jumps in the hole. So now there are two people in the hole and someone else has to take them both out. Then it is called sympathy. So one is in the hole, you go there, you see what has happened, you make yourself safe first, make yourself stable, and then you help the other person come out of the hole. Then it is empathy. Where do you want to be? Yeah, of course, we want to be in this area, empathy. In that, the attachments bring us in that department of sympathy. Like something has happened, something is broken, he's crying, and I go and I also cry. Then someone else has to help us both. One person is in sorrow and I'm also in sorrow. So I am not useful anymore to the other person. I'm into this emotional sentimentality. All that is sympathy. That makes you not useful. Surgeon who is, having attachments, he is advised not to do the operation. With relations and with friends, he cannot. He got the skills, but he becomes useless. And they have to invite someone else to do the operation. So here, that is sympathy. Apathy is another. It's like a advanced ego. He's totally caught in his own area. That is apathy. Ravan is much bigger. But we want to be in that space where we are safe. You are not into sorrow, you are not identifying, you are not getting into sentimentality, sensible. But as we say and emphasize, nature of the soul is love. So you cannot stop soul loving, it's nature. And that true, unconditional love, that is his nature. So the more you remove the ego, you are more coming in this space. I hope that helps. So the difference between indifference and attachment. They are very important questions. These are the questions of many others also.
Soumya's asking if you have an example, but if you wish to expand. But,
example of?
I think the example of perhaps, I'm not sure, maybe Soumya could clarify.
We give the example just now, but
on the cloud situation, but it may be that it will. Yeah. Do you have anything? I do have a question here which might help Soumya as well, regarding the fact this came a bit earlier from Elaine. She says the soul is on the stage 24/7 and 7 days a week. We have our discipline to step out, but we can't actually leave the stage and take time off. So is the solution, is it not to be on the stage and a spectator at the same time?
Sure. All of you might remember the dotted line that we draw. And that dotted line represents ignorance and deception. So Many actors are on the stage, in a limited drama. Someone is acting as a king and someone is acting as a dragon. They are on the stage. We sometimes give an example. Maria is acting as a camel, for a children's drama. And she's on the stage and with a mask of the camel, and she's acting as a camel. But she remains very sensible who she is whilst acting on the stage. She doesn't believe that she's a camel. So if we all, in a limited drama, do that, we should be able to do it in this bigger drama. We are on the stage, but remain sensible. That is all. To cross that dotted line means go into ignorance. Means then you are confused completely. And when we say our present state, ego, body consciousness, we have crossed a line.
Yes, thank you. About expectation, as we cannot stay without action, are we not meant at least to expect that what we plan is going to succeed?
Good, very good. We plan. Succeed is another thing. We plan, and we plan to win also. There's nothing wrong with that. But having done that, be prepared with plan B. Then you are more clever. Because the world is not in my control. You may plan everything, but be prepared. Be prepared for the unexpected. Then you are wiser. Then there is no bondage. If you create an expectation of the results, then there is a bondage. So let us create a few minutes of attention and practice. That is what nourishes that higher consciousness. And very, very easy. This whole thing makes it very easy. And good to remind ourselves, it is easy. We use the best intellect, that is Paras. And then it is so obvious. This one side is a story. And just like there is camel and elephant drama, here this is a drama. And in this drama, there is Prashant and there is different characters. And drama is drama. The episodes come to an end and things change. No difference between camel drama and this drama. But all this helps us to understand that there is the real world behind. And that real world is alokik. And we defined alokik. What does it mean? It is unearthly. Unearthly, invisible, subtle. It is also eternal and divine. It is good. When we use Paras, it becomes so obvious. The whole map becomes so obvious. So there is the home of these actors. Invisible actors have got an eternal home. And if they themselves are immortal, there is no problem. They are immortal, their home is eternal, and they got a great story to act, to experience, to express. And they remain sensible to know The story has got a script. They don't need to create any expectation. They don't need anything from the story. They are in relationship. If anything in the story can't give them sorrow, this is called a relationship. Relationship brings happiness. Just like anything, it becomes a gift. It comes, goes, rainbow. It comes, goes, it becomes a gift. So also this whole, every moment appears like a gift for the one who is free, one who has a relationship with this world. He finds every interaction is a gift. He also knows he's very lucky. Why is he lucky? He has got his eternal home. He had forgotten all this. Now he's awakening to this. He got this supreme home, home of sweet silence, home of peace. He has got this true family, and in this family, all are noble and good. It's a great honor to have a family where even one person is noble. It makes everyone happy. Here, everyone is noble in an authentic personality. Desireless, sorrowless, they are not slaves. That's why they are in this supreme home. To come in the supreme home, they can't come with any of the slave or ego or demon. So everyone is worthy of great respect. They are also innocent. Anyone who is so secure remains innocent, can afford to remain innocent. That's why they are childlike and godlike. Every aspect of this dimension is good. One who is conscious understands that he is lucky, worthy to be in the company of God, to be loved by God, to be from the family of God, to belong. Who feels this? Who says this? That star with the halo, that invisible actor, not a role, nothing from the drama. This invisible actor is not part of the drama. Prashant is part of the drama. The actor is completely separate, independent from the role. As we continue on the journey, we remember the beautiful truth. Excellent. I was going to read a few more lines from that Murli. But if anything, any immediate comment, or happy to go through that.
How, what is the method to remove already formed bondages?
Just understanding helps us. Like, for example, all these bondages are created because we didn't realize that I'm creating bondages. Everyone else around create bondages. I also create bondages, create expectations. We have created this culture. So the light is not shining. We are not seeing even what is happening. So right now, just we discussing this, now you are saying, wow, I thought that is not such a big thing. Just a few expectations here and there, and they are all justified, these expectations. You felt like that. Now you are saying expectation for any good reason. It is a problem. It is my problem if I create expectation. And it becomes a bondage. And it prevents me from flying. And it is good to observe this. And the moment you observe, half the battle is won. You see absurdity, not enough in a general sense. Like today we understood the general principle. But you need to observe this in each situation. The situation will come. You may have to observe, check if there are any expectations created with people around you, and expectations created from the government, from the system, from community. You literally need to be prepared for anything in this world. And you get full marks if you can do that. Unexpected means unexpected. Drama, suddenly the scene changes and the dragons come. All the kings and the deities all gone, and the dragons come. You should be prepared. Other people in the drama, they are prepared for anything that happens. So also here, we should be prepared. Then you are knowledgeful. Then you have got wisdom. Otherwise, if I'm deceived, then it is not wisdom. So the answer, in essence, the answer to your question, knowledge, understanding removes the bondages. Observing.
Nice. Just a quick translator note. I think Eva is able to hear, so maybe Eva can continue. Thank you. There was a question: to try and stay detached and be empathetic, do we keep having to check ourselves if we have ego?
That checking has to be there anyway. But most important for us is to remain busy with the sky. Not the whole time checking, but you go in the experience of the highest and the best. And then that contrast will help you observe if there is anything. Like if there is something dirty, if everything else is clean, then that dirt stands out. So same way here. You have to give yourself this big contrast, and then other things stand out.
So we should be prepared for the unexpected and then be the detached observer.
Yes.
There was a question, if someone is involved with a group of people, for example, and they're not on the same wavelength, and the dilemma whether one should stay with these people or not. If I leave, am I running away from the situation? So trying to understand, should I stay to try to be spiritually strong, or should I leave because it's not, am I running away if I were to leave? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Why are you there? That is a more important question than to be strong or not. You can be strong wherever you are, but is there a reason why have you got a mission to be there? That is a more important question. If your presence there is in line with the mission, then be there. If it is not in line with the mission, there is no point in wasting your time either. Most important is if you are clear. Are you clear about your mission and destination?
That's helpful. Thank you. So I don't know if this is a good time to take a break for room discussion.
Maybe in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yes, it is good, but in 5 minutes. I'll just read a few more lines connected with the Murli I was talking about. So we spoke that there is something called relationship, and there is also something called bondage. So one is the bondage of karma that causes distress to you and to others. Karmatit means someone who is not subservient or dependent on karma, but someone who enters a relationship with the sense objects as a master, as an authority. Someone who is detached from temporary desires and who makes the body and the senses act. Let the action not make the soul, who is the master, dependent, but let the soul, the one who is a master, enable the senses to perform the action. When sense objects deceive you, it means you are subservient, you are dependent, and you are tied in a bondage. Karmatit means to be beyond this. It is to be detached from this. Now I will stop here. The subject we discussed, relationship and dependency. To observe, even today, but also, this is a subject for a period of time. various things you come into interaction, and how you get tied to it. Even before you know, are you tied? Check this, and it's just silent checking. Do you have anything in this this theater of camel, elephant, and dragon drama? Anything can disturb you. Do you feel can be deprived? You feels that can create some kind of disturbance, disappointment. These are all signs that soul, who should be the master, has become a slave. When these bondages are not there, then you discover the happiness of the master to start with. But that happiness is rewarded even further. You find a story as it is. The camel turns left and the elephant goes right, and everything appears a joke. You are enjoying the story also, and you are enjoying the sky also, for what it is. Yeah, I will stop here and repeat for the rooms.
Thank you very much. So this question of any topic focus you would like to suggest for the discussion?
Yeah, no, of course, a nice subject, a relationship with this world, and bondage. Do we create any bondages? Where are the bondages?
Yes, thank you. And yes, the question is, reading from last Sunday's reading, Morning Merly. That's right. Very good. So if we go to rooms, if you find yourself in the wrong room, there's a button to click for help. Maybe it's the wrong language. And we'll meet back with maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just a reminder, it's nice if you're happy to have the camera on, and it's just if it's possible for you, and just giving a chance for everyone to share if you have time, of course. So enjoy your discussions, and we'll meet back very soon. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. I hope the conversation didn't end too abruptly, and you had a chance to hear from each other. So it's nice to create a little pause right now, just to reflect on what's been shared. So let's create a minute or two with some silence. Thank you. Very nice. And was able to hear some of your discussions, and it's so great to meet each other and share. So if you would like to share any of your insights on the chat, feel free. Any questions? And we're going to hand back over to Prashant for the last half hour. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. One very essential thing for us in this process and in our journey, self-transformation, is to understand what the situation is. One quote that we hear from Einstein: if there is 1 hour for him to solve a problem, he will spend 55 minutes to understand the problem. So here we need to understand our situation, our problem. And so what is our problem? Our board. To start with, first the board comes up. Do you want to make a guess? What is our first problem? Human beings, what is the problem for all of us?
Egos, expectations, ignorance, bondages.
Sure. I would say the first problem is this invisible prince, invisible soul, is unconscious. He's not even there. Sita, when she crosses the line, she's already in trouble, but that's why there is need of Sanjeevani. She's unconscious. And when the prince is unconscious, his enemy, which is the ego, is in charge of the kingdom. Enemy has become the king, which means enemy is using the mind, taking decisions for him, using the body resources. All 10 heads of Ravan are in charge. Understand this problem. And this ego is a product of confusion, is ignorance. And so he puts himself in bondage. The unconscious state, it is the primary. Soul himself is unconscious. Someone gave a nice image. If there is a blind man trying to catch a black cat in a dark room. So cat is not black. Cat is white, but the room is dark. You change the room, he is blind. So there are multiple obstacles. So also here, there are limitations here, complications. So the ego, we want to remove ego because ego is determined to survive. But to remove one ego, another ego will come until and unless the soul is made conscious again. And let us know this, so that at present, all this reality exists, supreme reality. We are talking about God, and we are talking about truth and immortality and region, literally a region of love and region of happiness and no reason for sorrow.
Se me ha ido internet rarísimo. Vale, ahora, ya está.
And this entire physical world, a gift. It's a miracle. Every moment is a miracle. Such is our reality. When the soul himself is unconscious, he cannot experience any of these things. So our effort need a little bit of this attention to make the soul conscious, to bring him back to the conscious level. And that is like a important part. How do you know when he's conscious? Because ego also can have a chant of soul, soul, and ego can say, I am a soul. That also goes on. Ego wants to become very spiritual, want to put a big hat that he is very spiritual. Ego will love something like that. So how do you know when the soul is really conscious, or is it still ego-based effort? In fact, no, that ego-based effort will be there. Lots of effort will be ego-based effort. But big success is if we get this accuracy at this level, getting the soul conscious. Yes, how do we know? One thing is, for the soul that is conscious, this entire physical world has irrelevance. During those seconds and minutes, it is irrelevant. For you, what happens in the Cinderella drama is irrelevant. You are told, oh, Cinderella got found her shoe. It means nothing to you. Cinderella lost both shoes. It means nothing to you. Same here. One who is conscious, he understands the great importance of the real family and the real world. It is not just a meditation for him. That is his home, and that is his world, and that is his family. If he is conscious, he is not seeing this as just a meditation, nice, but it is his family. He really cares. He wants to give them the best benefit and want to take them out of any, sorrow, unnecessary ignorance, and definitely this enemy Ravan. Those feelings will be there. There will be inner happiness of this whole truth. We hear this word, big inheritance, unlimited. And you have got this unlimited prize. All that will be immersed if the conscious. It may be minutes, but it is good for us to check this. It's subtle checking and get it right. Let the direction be in the best and the highest. Instead of starting with ego, so it is some kind of a superficial, then it becomes ego-based practice, ego-based spirituality. And that ends up in some kind of imagination, visualization, just words, but the deeper experience is not happening. When it is coming from the soul, the deeper experience will be possible. One thing we also try, and you might find there is a benefit in this, use the objective language. Here we are saying invisible soul, your invisible traveler, not using the word I that easily, using objective. Deep inside, this is I. But this new I, that feeling come inside you, rather than just using it too quickly, the letter I. Because this ego also is using the same letter, I. It gets mixed up. And the ego often wins by using the letter I. So just to bypass, try whatever that works, and we can always stay with that. So let us experiment with this right now. And we are straight away using the paras with the eye of the mind. We are able to see the theater, great theater that is going on. So if you just look out of the window and everything that happened today, it all happened in that theater. And what is happening right now, it is happening in the theater, this moment. And Prashant talking here, that is in the theater. And who is watching this? That invisible soul. Invisible soul is the invisible observer of this state. And he understands his independence from that theater. He is not part of it. He understands his complete independence from Prashant. And for each of you, the role, see the soul saying he is independent from the role. Mary, that is, who is acting as a camel, she knows she is completely different to camel. It is not, she is a little bit of camel. No, she is not an extension of camel. She is completely different. Camel disappears and part finishes. That doesn't affect Mary even the slightest. On the stage, camel is defamed by everyone. Elephant and all are defaming camel. That doesn't affect Mary at all. So independence means this. That is relationship. When you know you're completely independent of everything in the story. But this invisible observer, invisible soul, he is from God's world, God's family. He's more interested in that. And happy about it. He knows he's lucky because of this sky. Thank you. You want to add anything? Say anything?
One question. I think if I've understood correctly, every soul's part is different. How can I have a deep understanding of this? I think that's what the question is.
Yeah, sure. Just to know part is different, and that is what we see in front of us. That's enough. And we can accept, because it is all different, we are able to accept.
I hope that helps. I had a question at the beginning. You spoke about we want to transform through wisdom and not through pain. So I was wondering, do we ever really learn completely without pain? For example, this meditation, these experiences where the soul is so free, experiencing being free from harm, completely without bondage, and in this region of love, and those experiences, that now if the soul comes a little bit down from there, then in contrast, it is uncomfortable. Then ego itself, the presence of ego, is not pleasant in contrast. So in a sense, that's like not pain, but it is a discomfort. So it still becomes a signal to change. but perhaps it's a wiser way because we've explored the higher range of the capacity of the soul to experience its truth. Does it make sense?
Yeah, very good. I totally agree. Just to know that these are the two factors, and some are waiting for pain and more pain and more pain. And at some point, they learn, and some learn with the smell of pain. That is the difference. And someone, our health, for example, there is something you eat and it creates some health problem. It may create some, irritable bowel, and some patients see the connection themselves, and they instantly stop, change their lifestyle, and they are free from the problem. If they themselves do not see, then experts help to show the connection. And some people, even if they are shown the connection, still they cannot stop. They know very clearly. They say, is it worth me eating this and go through this torture? But they still end up eating it and go through the problem. So there is a gradient, how quickly human beings learn.
Yes, and there's a follow-up from this. For example, if we start to experience better health and then any step down from that feels uncomfortable, but perhaps we didn't realize that before, that discomfort, but we now are sensitive to it. So why does this happen?
Yeah, at the moment we have adapted to this pain and sorrow. It has become, we are dulled to it. And so when you clean, it is a good thing. To be sensitive to it is good, because it takes you up. Because the moment you go down, it becomes pain. So it forces you to keep going upward.
Yes, thank you. Nice question. A comment and question. So the invisible actor soul observing this drama and being unaffected, this is a very high level of realization. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And a comment, we need to stop being slowly boiled frogs. As soon as we feel the water is warming up, we need to jump out of the pot. Another question. So are you saying we need to pursue enlightenment of the mind and a higher state of awareness in order to awaken our soul? Is this correct?
It may be the language. We don't, but yes, knowledge and keeping yourself in this environment of light, and also keeping yourself in the right company. All these factors make a difference. One area that is to be aware of. You go out of this. Right now we are meeting here and we are talking about the sky and God and invisible traveler, and this is the drama. Just come out of this gathering and be with other people. They are 100% convinced that we are bodies, and they treat you as a body. They treat you as Cinderella. 100%. Not only 100% of people, but each one is so convinced. Even those who talk about God and soul, even they will treat you as a body. And to know this is like unspoken language that goes on, and that without you knowing get drawn into it. So you know all the truth and knowledge and what you should be doing, but the environment is completely working for ego. That is why you have to create your own environment and company also. And when you are with this world outside, you need to have more active attitude, seeing them as souls with full, power. You need to have this clear aim that they have to wake up. Otherwise, right now, they are under this full spell of darkness, where there's a blackout. And you need to have this active aim to break their spell and make them soul conscious. Reflect on this and experiment with this. That is what will help you to protect yourself also.
A couple of questions come up on this. When you see people as souls, what do you actually see? Do you see the soul? Is it itself?
You are seeing, just like there is a Mary and acting as a camel. On the stage, just everyone sees camel. No one knows Mary, but you know Mary also. So you are seeing camel, but you are aware that there is Mary behind, and you are aware that Mary needs, she has needs also. She may be hungry and she may be thirsty, and she needs transport back home afterwards. You are aware of Mary's interest, not just camel, camel, camel. Same here. You are aware that behind all this drama, there is the invisible actor, and invisible actor has his own needs. To start with, he has to be conscious and come out of the bondage. That is the immediate need of every invisible brother. Otherwise, you're fully immersed into this delusion. So you are seeing the greatness of the soul. He's a world with God. He's from the family of God. He's immortal. You are seeing the greatness with full conviction. Then that has power to break that spell. It's a tug of war. The world is pulling in one direction, Ravan's department. We need to be not just superficially in a meditation, but there has to be a little power to pull the tug of war in the other direction. You like this? You like this tug of war? You thought you are coming for transformation and self-transformation, and suddenly there is a war, and you have to pull it.
Came for a bit of peace, and now tug of war. I hope the answer helps, Shyam. Question also, does eye contact help when it comes to seeing others as souls? Do we need to have eye contact?
Not necessary. It is the language of the soul, reaches the soul. Others may be at a distance, and there is no distance in this level. At a drama level, there is a distance, but the language of the soul, there is no distance. All that is required is clarity and concentration and conviction. There has to be light. You need to be in light.
maybe this has already been answered, but when your relations see you as a body and try to be your master by forcing you to do things or behave in a certain way, how should one deal with it?
They don't become masters by forcing. That doesn't make them masters. They become masters only when you create an expectation. It is 100% in your hand to create an expectation. And they may try to force, or they may try to impose. Then you also have an option, what is appropriate and what you want to do, what you don't want to do. You can draw the line. You have the option to clarify. And also not to expect the others will be friendly with you forever, but you have the option. But you have 100% option to be free, regardless of the drama. Drama, there are dragons behaving in one way, and elephants behave differently. You remain happy.
Hope that helps. Another question, what happens if as a woman you live in an environment where you get unwanted attention from men? How do you see them as souls but still protect yourself?
In any situation, in every culture, there are its own methods how to do it. But it is the problem of others, and internally you are understanding the soul is dealing with it. It is a drama, that part is played, and soul is playing that part. And attention is a small problem. In another situation, there can be war going on, and that is also scene of the drama. There is a war and a terrorist. We have to be prepared for the unexpected in the drama. You try and solve in each situation. You solve the way the best in that situation. But bottom line is it's a drama. And the soul has its complete different destiny. In the war, Prashant may die, and it can be any time. And that is the script. The soul remains independent all along.
So time has really flown, and we've now completed the time here. So maybe if you would like to share any other final comments or a suggestion for reflection before we connect again.
A nice subject, this word karmatit. That is a very good, if we are going for transformation, certainly nice thing to aim for. If you have access to that Murli, worth reading that Murli, even if you have read it, worth revising it in the context of our discussion. Yeah, but I was going to ask Sarah if you would like to lead the meditation when we finish for a few minutes.
Yes, sure. So really consolidating this wisdom of the true self. and the right environment to promote this angelic view. So for the next few moments, to consider that everything that happened today and this week is happening in a play on a stage. You can choose to see that whole setup as small as if down below, including the role, especially the role. And taking the independent, invisible traveler who is so free, doesn't need the story to be different, because he is connected to the real, the eternal, the stable, this primary world. And stepping inside that space, just like stepping into a room. This is the atmosphere of the Father. This sky beyond the physical sky. Which is beyond change and beyond the end and the details of the story. As if nothing has to change outside, I just change the view and realize the perfection that's there. Behind Cinderella. It's a great comfort to know that everyone is completely safe. So to choose a scene or a relationship and see that from this perspective, they are completely safe. The invisible traveler has a right to the love of this Supreme Father, friend, family. Connecting with that space, we can make sense of the story. We see it in context. Om Shanti. Thanks everyone so much for this amazing opportunity at this time to connect. We'll see you tomorrow.